Dudes to Dads is a podcast to help men understand and navigate the transition of being a single dude into a family man. How do we make sense of it all? Well, we probably won't be able to, but let's go ahead and have some fun trying. And we are back.
We are back.
I'm Jason Kreidman.
I'm Alan Bush.
And this is Dudes to Dads.
We have a special guest with us.
We
SLC.
do. Mr. Scott Kilian,
Yes.
who has visited us before.
A frequent
Welcome,
guest of the
Scott.
show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's always special when I'm here.
That's
Scott is a certified financial planner, among what else? Other titles that you have?
A certified financial father.
You're a dad?
That's right. Fiscally responsible dad.
Yeah, that's right. So the topic for today, the reason we brought Scott in as well, not just we like him, that's one of the reasons, but the other is that he does have some knowledge around finance. And today's topic is really about we call it teaching your kids about money, but Scott made a good point earlier when we were discussing this was, really what is it about? Are we just teaching them about the dollars and cents and that kind of thing? Or
100 pennies means
well, no,
$1.
but a dollar bill was invented in the 1600s, like that kind of stuff.
What president is this?
So when somebody says teaching kids about money, what do you think of?
Yeah, well, I think that it means they want their kids to be financially fit. They don't want to be taken to the cleaners from by banks and corporations. They want to get that head start to make sure they can make the best decisions.
Yeah.
Right. No, that makes sense. So
I like
think
that word, financially fit. I think it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, no, it totally does.
Yeah.
I had looked at an article, and this is what this topic came about. I was talking with Scott, and it had 10 different ways to teach your kids about money. So what I thought I would do is we'd go through these, but I want to get Scott's opinion on it. Get an actual professional, see what they think about it.
For sure, yeah.
Because a lot of times we talk about stuff that we think is good, but it is cool or relevant. But it is nice to have the advice or the perspective of a professional.
Yeah, I wish I met you like 30 years ago.
My bank account would be a little bit.
Yeah, probably a little more rich at this point.
So the first one, and I think is obviously very important, is modeling good behavior. So what that means is, the monkey see, monkey do that we talk about, the importance of really making sure that the mom and dad are doing what they say they're telling their children to do. Is that kind of how you would view that?
I would, and I think that for most families, that should be the major focus on what they do. If you don't model great financial behavior, it doesn't matter what you tell your children to do. They will, in fact, do what you do as opposed to do what you say. And that extends to things far beyond finances.
Yeah, very, very good point. So it's kind of like in a lot of different things that we talk about where there's steps. I think when the last time you came on, you talked about commitment.
Yes.
That was like one of the first things. This is the first foundation, like you're saying. If you can't model the behavior and do it yourself, you shouldn't be telling others to do it. And that's with many things, like you said. It's not just your children either. You can't you be a hypocrite telling people what to do with their money,
right,
and you're not doing it yourself. So it's like for you, if you're having financial issues, yet you're a financial planner, that would look kind of bad.
Yes.
It's like going to a fitness instructor and they're overweight.
Yeah.
I never trust.
Eating Twinkies.
Although somebody also did say, never trust a skinny chef.
It's kind of the opposite.
Yeah, the opposite. So.
Yeah. I will say though, I used to be a financial analyst, and I was broke.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like managing people's money, telling them what to do with it. I just kind of crunched numbers in the back end. But
sure,
there was something. There was a little bit of irony to that when I was doing it.
The second one is don't say we can't afford it.
Right, and this too is extremely important. The language that we use with our kids around finances and money is extremely important. Saying things like "we can't afford it."
That's not because you're lying.
It's anxiety producing, and it causes the children, the kids to think, "Are we having financial issues?" And that can easily be reframed to something like, well, we just choose to spend our money in a different way in our family.
That's a good one.
And so that's a better way to talk about
instead of we're broke.
Absolutely, we can't afford. We can't do this. The limiting, the constriction, it causes stress in our kids' lives. Things we definitely don't want, especially around money, because I'm sure we all know plenty of adults who have stress around money. Anybody here?
I don't know. This is video too? Oh, I don't think they can see that. I don't stress about money. Ask my wife. Yeah.
Anything we can do to keep it in a positive
Right.
sense, and think about the conversations we're having around our children as well too. Now we should be pretty easy with the conversations around money, but that being said, we should be very mindful of the language we use.
Well, it's interesting because first thing, going back to the modeling good behavior, you can see, and I can see myself like, gosh, I can't afford that. Even thinking it of myself, forget about when I'm talking to my kids, but that same attitude and how that can sort of limit you on what you're doing. Like you said, is, instead I choose to spend my money this way. That's I really like that. We'll actually probably write that down someday. That might be a tweet or something.
Right, and the thing is, you probably can afford the thing you say you can't afford, but you would prefer to put groceries on the table to make the mortgage payment, to do
Right.
X, Y, or Z, as opposed to that.
Buying the jet ski.
Buying the jet ski. Nice.
The third one, involving kids in the household shopping. So I think part of that is maybe to allow them to see the exchange of money, especially if they're really young, like are seeing the exchange of the money for goods that we consume. What would you think would be that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so these are the household shopping is the grocery store and the staples, the things that we need around the house. It's important for, at some point, and this is not in the early ages with kids, but at some point it's important for them to participate with you. We use things, they go away, we have to replenish them.
Okay.
And more than just having them come with you for the household shopping, it's to see the actual exchange of the dollars and the cents, not the credit cards, but the actual currency being exchanged.
I think that's another tip, so we can get to that one. Yeah, no, you're ahead of the game.
Oh,
yeah.
wow, okay.
It's almost
Yeah,
like he's
I'll
seen this. Yeah. So okay, that makes sense, and related to shopping, but this one says don't take kids shopping for fun.
Absolutely.
So,
well, in terms of that, I
kind of
think
wasted spending or
well,
something. Yeah.
I think it solves a lot of issues, and I know that this happens sometimes with my son. It promotes this consumerism idea, going out there, spending this seemingly endless amount of money on toys and other garbage that's out there. It just the kids don't understand that. They don't understand that that's not a bottomless pit, and at some point you're going to take them out, and they're not going to be able to get what they want, and that's when.
Right.
That's when.
Yeah, I think they called it leisure shopping. That was the
Absolutely.
terminology being used. So, the idea is different when you're going shopping for the stuff that you need versus the stuff that you don't need. So when they say, oh, well, let's just go browse and look at stuff
Right.
and see what we can buy, I guess the question being is just don't take your kids if you're going to do that.
Right.
If you can afford it, one, but two, just don't bring the kids. So.
And I think one thing to keep in mind is when we talk about teaching kids about money, being financially fit, a better way to put it, we are talking about creating the foundational aspects of good behavior. So it's not to say that leisure shopping is bad, but there are things and there are values you want to instill before you actually put that out there and do that on a regular basis.
Makes sense. Okay. The fifth thing, bring your kids to the bank with you. So not only allowing them to see it, but then the next step further is even opening an account.
And I agree with this point as well. It not only does it help them understand how it works to transact business in some way, but it also gives them an opportunity to ask questions of the teller or any other officer there that's at the bank, so they can. So they can get their questions answered.
Kind of gives them an introduction to the financial system, if you will.
I mean, they can see the vault, they can see things, they can see how, that the glass is set up, that this is important. It doesn't.
Depends on where you are.
The bars.
The bars.
What was the one I mean, we live in a nice, fairly nice neighborhood, but where you have to walk into the bank, one at a time.
Yeah.
And then the door closes, and then the other door opens. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. I mean, it was like I was going into Fort Knox or something. It was like, it was just it was just a normal bank. I'm like,
hermetically sealed away from society.
But is that, just security, I guess.
Yeah. So some people can follow you in or just
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just weird.
I kind of understand.
Or they can lock them in there if like they don't like the person who comes
They
in the
don't
first
look right.
door. Yeah,
Like they could probably do that too.
Oh yeah, if someone's trying to run out.
Yeah.
oh, I guess that's
They
true.
just go
So
lock
maybe
them
it's
in.
more for the exit.
Yeah, the exit strategy, the getaway car.
Yeah. Open both doors at the same
Right.
time. I don't know if I don't think they do. You can't
I
open
don't
both
think you
doors
can.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe if somebody knows, give us an email.
Podcast. I do that.
Yeah, actually, you can reach us at podcast at
They would have robbed the bank. Let us know.
Or also Twitter, at Dudes to Dads, and then Facebook, Dudes to Dads Com. And we appreciate any feedback or comments you have on this. And maybe even some ways that you've taught your kids about money would be interesting too, because we don't have the exhaustive complete list. We usually cover almost everything, but not everything. The sixth one, and you brought this one up, Scott, briefly, is don't use credit cards around the kids.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like almost like this golden ticket thing.
Right.
Like they don't even know what's going on.
right. I
with
mean, when
it.
you think about it, it's kind of confusing, isn't it? I mean, for somebody
Yeah.
who has never, somebody who has
You just show this card and you get whatever you
get
want.
one, you get it back.
That was my
Yeah.
college years. I can pay you this back.
Right.
Quarter to never.
Well, you just made a comment. I don't want to overlook that. You give it to them and they give it back,
Yeah.
Right.
which is much different than
It's
the
not
cash,
money. Yeah.
which you
Right.
said like it actually will leave your hand
Unless
And
we'll
you
come
don't get
back.
it back.
unless we'll come
Yeah,
back. Yeah,
right.
or
Yeah.
you get coins.
If you use
back.
it all up, you have a zero in your wallet. You can see it tangibly. Like there's
Right.
nothing in my wallet
That's
I have
true.
to give to them in exchange.
Right. So that's an interesting that is an interesting concept. But I guess an overriding question is, I mean, you start these things fairly young. Do you have any idea like the age of which kids start to grasp these things? I mean, I know for my children, we tried to start teaching them about coins, and we have charts, and we have the things, and try to do some of these things. I can see some areas where I certainly can improve and explain more or bring them into the fold and see it. But what's an appropriate age? Are there age appropriate elements to this? I mean,
Well, yes, there are age appropriate elements to what you should expose your children to.
I guess we just won't have
think
meaning
it's
if they're
kind
too
right,
young. Yeah.
right, and my approach is just there's no need to rush any of it. I just think that you need to make sure that the foundational aspects are intact first, because those are the things that are going to stick with them as they get older.
Well, it's having a healthy attitude.
Absolutely.
Like you said.
I mean, money should be. It has a great importance. That shouldn't be downplayed. It should be.
You're getting ahead of us. There's another one.
You should already.
We're gonna bust through them before we get to that. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there's the kids should over time understand what they can do, what they can't do, and then as they get older, they're allowed to do more things like open accounts, and then later get
Right.
credit cards, and then later actually make decisions on
Sure.
if they want to get, and they'll be in a good spot to be able to make the right decisions.
Yeah, I can attest to that because I was thrown in that world. I mean, pretty much right after high school, I went to college, and all of a sudden, I now have a bunch of debt. I now have
Right.
credit cards.
You didn't know how to
I
manage
had no
stuff.
money, and had
Right.
no how to manage, no knowledge to
Yeah.
manage it. And so, I just thought that, like you said, it was almost an inexhaustible, endless supply of credit. Bought all my books and food and stuff that I didn't have.
Right.
And by my sophomore year, I'm pretty much broke and in debt.
Right, and it was okay for you to do that at the time. You're thinking that's totally
Yeah,
fine. I'll
yeah.
just take care of it.
I'll
and-
pay you later back.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Or I wasn't responsible enough to do that.
So little experiences here and there, and it's a lot better for the kids to fail small, when there's, to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Doing that at a later age will
To not have enough money for something small.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. This one's a little bit controversial, I think. Give an allowance.
Yeah.
The reason I say controversial is because we had a meetup group earlier today, or tonight, and there was a debate about that.
Really?
So yeah, it was whether allowance is appropriate or making, there's different philosophies on it. Like just so why don't you?
So one of the things about an allowance is typically parents will give those to kids in exchange for doing things like picking up the dog poop or washing
trash.
dishes or something like that. And these are things that you just do, in my
As part of
opinion,
the
as
family.
part of the family. You live, you once you get to an age where you can start participating around the house, well, you participate in eating the food and making the mess, and so you should be, you should participate in
Yeah.
fixing it.
Yeah.
And so, So I'm of the mindset that giving an allowance for that purpose comes with greater consequences down the road. However, I also believe that the only way to really get good at understanding money is by practice using it. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a time where they can't get a job, really. So I feel like parents should give maybe a stipend or an opportunity, or just an opportunity to take some money and buy something at a store and get the change,
right,
or something like that, just to see and feel what actually happens.
So you think you should get an allowance without the exchange for our services, so to speak?
I do.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I mean, some of the classes and the things that I've learned are that where the kids, just like you said, are doing things as part of the family. Like you said, they live there, they get food, and you clean up. Yeah. And everybody's responsible for that. So the money that's shared, whether you decide to give a regular stipend or you do it once in a while or however you decide that, but that's part of just being a part of the family. It's not the exchange of services.
Yeah.
Other people, though, will argue and say, well, that teaches them the work ethic and they get it. It's like that's their job right now. Right. And that's the other side of the argument. I happen to agree with Scott. I don't, that's not the way I think, but
that falls in line with a check system or a star system for being nice. You're great to your sister.
You're supposed to be nice.
You're supposed to be nice anyway, not for a gold star or a Twinkie at the end of a couple days of being nice. You're supposed to do that. It's just part of being able to exist in a society where you're supposed to treat people with respect.
I do agree with that philosophy, and that's a lot of arguments can be made for a lot of other things when people get rewarded for just doing what they're supposed to be doing in the first place.
Chris Rock, I take care of my kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids.
Right.
I haven't been to jail. You're not supposed to go to jail.
Totally.
So I think the major thing here with an allowance is at some point to give your kids an opportunity to use it. Right. And it doesn't have to be big. I mean, you hear stories. I mean, you can Google this, and everybody has a story about how they choose to do allowances. I mean, some parents say, okay, well, you're going to get $20 a week, but really it's $40 a week, and the other $20 goes into an account. And then, like 10 years, they open up an account, and there's money there. And I mean, it's just to me, a lot of that's just kind of hocus pocus. Right. The idea is, this is the start of being responsible with it. If you decide to buy this Lego or this toy or give it away, you're going to get your whatever satisfaction you get out of it, and you're going to have less money at the end of the day. So is that important?
If you wanted a bigger thing, then you could save up.
What would happen? What would happen if you saved for the next 2 or 3 times that you got money? Could you buy the bigger? Could you get a snow cone and that 400th stuffed animal that we talked about? Can we do that?
We can get that Xbox.
Get that Xbox. Yeah.
What was that bank thing that we talked about on
the spend, share, save?
Spend, share, save. You put the money in the different compartments.
But something that we brought up is, are we as adults doing the same thing?
No.
So we're telling them, say, take a third of your money and do this, and a third of your money and do that. And it's like, really? Am I doing that? Yeah. I mean, same thing. I mean, you've got to do what you are telling them to do. And because they're going to see that. So
Well, going back to the modeling, it's the values that each family has. If you have a value system in your family where you save a third of what you do, or you give a third away, well, your kids are going to feel that. They're going to know that this is
part the bank. That's what we do.
Yeah, and so here's your opportunity, your small opportunity to have your 3 jars. If you're like, I'm blowing it all on parties, but Johnny, I'm going to set up 3 jars because this is responsible. This is responsibility, and you need to learn this. Right. So I'm going to give you some money, and I need you to save it.
I got to go home and change the jars.
Right. Well, change the shared part to
less
taxes.
percentage. Yeah.
We pay taxes. Yeah. We share it with the government.
Right.
So technically, we do give a third away.
Start getting me going. The 8th one, don't give your kids loans. So, I mean, which seems really just basic. If they don't have the money, they don't get to do what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
Many times, at least the way that I've seen it, parent loans
Why teach them about debt that way?
Well, but the other thing too is that parent loans to kids end up turning to gifts, not loans. So the idea of the loan is lost somewhere down the road. But in the early stages, Yeah, they need to have the money to spend. Spending on a cash basis is a lot better.
Right.
You have to learn how to do that before you spend on a credit basis.
Right, yeah, that's a good point.
This one's kind of general, but talk about money regularly and casually. So you were talking about, like at the dinner table, if you're talking with your wife, about money, be conscious of that, but also just, it should be somewhat casual. It's not, the stressful conversation maybe shouldn't be done right then at the dinner table.
Money, the conversation around money should not be a stressful conversation. It also should not be one to shy away from either. Talk about it. What are we going to do? We can do this. We can do that. We've got X amount.
So you shouldn't have your hands in your head like this while you're talking about money.
Right. Yeah, you shouldn't have any visible signs of agony or pain as you talk about the financial distress that you're feeling.
I totally need work on all this.
So we should get you a mirror and just put it in front of your face at the dinner table.
No,
so
I
you
know.
can kind of check it a little bit.
So one of the things I've learned recently and sort of come into the realization is of having the attitude about money. There's different attitudes about money, and most people I think are taught about scarcity,
right?
Versus abundance, and the idea of scarcity is, you budget, we save, and there's obviously some value to that, but at the same time, it's living a very constricted and a restrictive way. Whereas if you have an attitude about abundance, because you look at people who are very wealthy, they have a much different attitude about money.
Yeah, for sure.
They're not penny pinching and worrying about coupons and and they've been successful and they've brought money into their life with the idea of abundance. And so maybe they do spend, but they also make. And it's that idea. There's a different mindset for those who are wealthy versus those who are not.
And if we go back up to the saying of can't afford it, that's a scarcity mentality. Choosing to spend our money in this particular way is an abundant mentality. We have a choice.
Right.
We decide to do this, and that's exactly.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that.
Isn't there a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yeah, that's somewhat.
Those terms.
It is.
Books and games and seminars and worksheets.
Right.
All by the same time.
The media mogul, based around that whole idea. But I thought about the book first.
But that is a big part of it.
That's a big part of that mentality shift between someone who's poor and says, like you said, scarcity versus the abundance.
The attitude has a very big impact on your actions. And how you treat stuff and how you make decisions. And that's definitely important. And then the last one is don't downplay the importance of money. So I think you covered that one where just saying, don't pretend it's not important because it is.
Right. Yeah, it certainly is, and it's important that our kids know that we know that it's important too. So, there could be questions around, well, do you want to spend your money on that? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do this or that? I mean, now we're talking about choice, and it gives them an opportunity to go, do I really want that right now?
Right.
And they could be put in a situation where, maybe they decide, our kids don't really have a future tense. It's now or it's not going to happen. So they either, but as they develop that future tense, then that would be a good time to try to broach that a little bit. Yeah.
So you're local to us. You're here in San Diego. Do you service clients all over the place? I mean, do you have the ability, license-wise or other things to service people in other areas?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. So how would somebody get in touch with you, or give you an opportunity to? Not that you didn't even ask for that, but I appreciate that. He just said, "Hey, I want to talk to the kid about kids' money." So I was like, "But the reality is, you are in business. So how do people get a hold of you if they do?"
Yeah, I mean that's. I'm here. I'm here local in San Diego. I would say that you can go. You can just probably email me is the best thing to do. The email's s.kilian, Kilian @lpl.com.
Okay.
And email me 1L, and I'll get back to you. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Cool. That's awesome. Any other questions, Alan? While we have him here?
No, everything's great. Again, when you come in, I always like it because you're teaching me about financial responsibility, and I was not taught very well about financial responsibility.
I don't think most are. I don't think most of us are.
No, but in the context, I just kind of went to college on the other side of the United
Right.
States and I had to learn everything the hard way and I'm still suffering for it.
I think that's what most people have to do. Is most people, like you said, I mean, you're saying it's like the discussions aren't there. It's not part of, like, you know, money's kind of secretive. It's hidden. It's that kind of thing, and sometimes bad. And so I think, you know, people who learn about money learn about it on their own. They seek it. They go and they learn, you know, what they need to do and how they need to do it. So yeah, it's interesting.
There isn't really a class that teaches you how to do any of this stuff. There's not really a class that teaches the profession that I'm in what to do. It's all by feel.
fire.
Just, yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, so it's
Like you take licensing tests and stuff, but that has nothing to do with
it has nothing to do with the
how to deal with
conversations
people's
actually.
stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It has nothing to do with pretty much anything that I do. But yet it's required, so go figure.
Yeah,
Oh,
the government requires that stuff. so.
Just, you know, check the box.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for coming
I
in.
know.
Always dropping some knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my pleasure.
Appreciate that. And once again, we'll put his contact information up on our page for everybody.
Also, be sure to go to iTunes and Stitcher and leave some reviews or 5-star reviews.
We do like that.
And share your comments about fiscal responsibility. That'd be great. And
Or
maybe
how
some
bad
comments.
you've been
Yeah.
in the past. And
How much you are broke.
your
right now.
financial distress stories are
Yeah.
also interesting. As well.
Exactly. We will air them and laugh.
Yeah. And email, once again, podcast@dudestodads.com. And any other final thoughts, questions, comments?
We're good.
It's late. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
I think we're good.
Cool. Everybody, thanks for being here again, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thank you.